Welcome back, degenerates, to Place Your Bets. I'm Tyler James. He's the one and only Eric Hansen. We cover Notre Dame football, recruiting, and more for InsideNDSports.com on the Rivals Network. And we like to make prop bets about Notre Dame football. Our season-long competition on the Insider Lounge message board rewards the first-place subscriber with a 12-month extension of their subscription, and second place gets 6 free months. There's a thread to submit your picks listed in the video description below. Our last week before the bye, we had a pushless week for the Navy game, and 5 subscribers managed to take advantage of that with perfect scores. BCND, John 2309, JMD Irish, Rockney 93, and Rover 219 all managed to get all 5 correct. I continue to follow the pattern of getting 3 right almost every week, and Eric was near the bottom again, better than 0. But he managed to get 2 prop bets right from the Navy game. Why? I guess, Eric, have you done any self-reflection during the bye week? Who are you putting on the hot seat for your performance?
I'm putting on the hot seat your crummy questions.
All right. Well, you're still 1 ahead of me in the season standings, as poorly as it's gone for the last couple of weeks. But you have 23, I have 22. Our leader remains BMM 2834 with 29. And let's see if either of us can close the gap with our prop bets for Notre Dame's home game against Florida State this Saturday.
I'm just glad you pronounced that one adjective right about not having any pushes.
All right. First one we have is over under 47% completion percentage for Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, since DJ Uiagalelei left the lineup and he wasn't lighting it up either, they've gone to a redshirt freshman and a freshman quarterback, true freshman quarterback. They've played both of them in 3 games, and Brock Glenn has been starting since the injury. I believe it's 4 games, and their completion percentage has been pretty bad. The one thing I'll give them some credit, they played some of the better pass efficiency defenses in the country. Nobody as good as Notre Dame, but some decent ones until last week when they played North Carolina and they got shut down. 8 of 18 combined with 2 interceptions. I almost kind of try to outthink myself and thinking, well, Notre Dame's starting defense will certainly hold them below that 47 percentage. But what about when Tay Johnson and Carson Hobbs are playing cornerback if it's a blowout game? But I thought, you know what, don't overthink it. Go the under because that's where Florida State has been against. Again, it'll be the best pass efficiency defense they've faced.
All right. Yeah, I'm going under as well. I don't expect anything to come easy for Florida State on Saturday night, and that includes completing passes. So Notre Dame's only allowed 48.9% completion rate against it this season. Florida State for the season's at 49.6, so this would be under both of those numbers, but not that far under. So I agree. Let's go under. All right, over under 204.5 rushing yards for Notre Dame.
I'm going to go over. I think it makes sense for Notre Dame, especially, again, if they get the lead, to keep running the ball and not be throwing it down the field. Even if Steve Angeli and Kenny Minchie are the ones doing it, I think they'll hand off and let Keetering Young run around and Aeneas Williams. And Florida State is 92nd in rush defense, so it seems to me that 204.5 is not an overwhelming number to leap over.
Yeah, I'm going over as well. Florida State allows 191.4 rushing yards per game. Notre Dame's been averaging 216.5. So I try to put this number somewhere in the middle, but I'm going over. I think Notre Dame's going to have success, including a couple of big runs and some late rushing opportunities like you talked about, in a lopsided game to clear the over. All right, next one, higher number, Florida State punts or Notre Dame touchdowns?
Well, when you think about what Florida State does well, there's not a very long list, but they are the best punting team in the country. They are number 1 in net punting. The problem is, even when they should be doing that, they don't do it as often as they should. They've gone for it on 4th down 29 times. They They went for it 7 times against Miami. So they're giving up some punts without giving away my score prediction yet, because I'm sure everybody's waiting for that.
Can't have
I don't want
spoilers for that. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't want to say the number of touchdowns. So I think Notre Dame's going to score some touchdowns, but I'm going to
Wait,
go
hold on. That's you're getting outrageous now. Some touchdowns?
Well, I mean, they're going to. I don't want to give away my score prediction. I don't want people to just turn it off at this point. That's what they're waiting for. That and the for fun question. And I don't want to ruin that either. I'm going to say Florida State punts.
All right, yeah, all that I agree with you. Florida State punts. The numbers are Florida State's averaging 4.7 punts per game, and Notre Dame is averaging 4.9 touchdowns per game. So relatively even, which is why I was like, well, that might be an interesting prop bet. So I went with Florida State punts. I think we'll get at least 5 of both. But I'm going to side with FSU punts being a little bit higher.
Have we said the same thing on all of them so far?
I think so. Yes, okay. we have.
Okay.
So I that might be bad news for me the way you've been doing the last few weeks. All right, next one.
Or you just come up with better questions.
Next one is over under 3.5 sacks for Notre Dame's defense.
Florida State has had 8 different offensive line combinations in 9 games. They've started 10 different offensive linemen. They have not been good at protecting any of the quarterbacks. And Notre Dame has been able to get pressure even with 2 of their Viper ends having their season end. I think you're going to get the best version of Josh Burnham that we've seen this week, getting that extra week to rest his ankle and get it a little bit healthier. And then the interior has been providing a lot of push that's created opportunities for the guys on the edges and the linebackers. So I am actually going to go over on this.
All right. Well, we found our disagreement, although I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame went over. I'm going under. To me, the difference between 3 and 4 here feels maybe bigger than it is. I feel better about Notre Dame being able to get 3 sacks than 4 sacks. So I'm siding with the under. Florida State average allows 3.33 sacks per game, and Notre Dame's averaging 2.25 sacks per game. So I'll go with the 3 rather than the 4 and stick with the under. All right, over under 44.5 receiving yards for Notre Dame wide receiver Jordan Faison.
I think Faison's really coming into his own now, and I think we'll see some big days. And I know he'd like one of those to be against a team from his home state of Florida. But I also think maybe the game gets out of hand fast enough that they want to take a look at KK Smith and some other guys at that position. And Chris Mitchell played collegiately in Florida last year. I'm sure he wants to play too. So I just think it's going to be spread out more. So I'm not sure that anybody gets really big receiving numbers. So under.
All right. Yeah. Unfortunately, 45 feels like a big receiving numbers for Notre Dame this season. 45 yards isn't that much. He had 52 yards against Navy, but he hadn't had more than 17 in a game this season. Prior to that, obviously, while dealing with some ankle issues. I don't feel great about it, but I'm going to go with the under as well. I just think there's too much uncertainty from game to game on what's going to work in the passing game. They don't seem to lean too heavily on one receiver from game to game. So I'm going to go under, but certainly it's a number he can hit. He hit 45 yards in 3 of the 7 games he played last season. And obviously it seems like things are turning the corner for him this season with the way things have gone as of late. All right, our fun one that Eric didn't want to spoil earlier. Will Eric recognize the song played in Notre Dame Stadium between the 3rd and 4th quarters?
Of course I will. And to show you that I do recognize it, if I do indeed recognize it, if I'm right about this one, I will look directly into your eyes and sing it to you. I will sing the lyrics. I will serenade you in the press box.
All right. And for the record, we're not talking about the 1812 overture. We're talking about whatever that song they choose to play with.
Heaven is a place on earth.
Whatever.
I know enough of that song to sing the lyrics.
We'll see if that's what they go with between the 3rd and 4th quarters or what sort of light show specialty song they have. I'm going to go the other way. I'm saying no. Maybe they're going to try to be more modern and hip than they have in the past, and then maybe that puts it out of Eric's range as long as it hasn't been on The Voice before. So I'm gonna go with no, and maybe he'll be asking me who sings whatever song it is. All right, our last one. What's our final score prediction for Notre Dame, Florida State?
I'll tell you, Florida State has one of the better kickers in the country, although they're confused about whether he's missed a field goal or not. One place in their stats, they have him 10 of 10. Another place, they have him 10 of 11. But he makes a lot of them over 50 yards. The problem is they've gone for it on fourth down instead of having him kick field goals lately, Fitzpatrick. And so I'm going to say that they try to kick field goals against Notre Dame, and I think they get 4 of them. And so my score is 38-12.
All right. Well, we're very close on final score. I don't think Fitzpatrick will have as much work. I have Notre Dame 38, Florida State 10. So very similar scores there. I'm expecting this to be pretty lopsided. Don't expect it to be very close. Florida State's defense is respectable enough that I didn't feel like I could put sort of like a cartoonish number on Notre Dame's side, even though it wouldn't be shocking if it ends up that way. So 38-10, a 28-point victory for Notre Dame to get November rolling. All right. Well, that is it for us here for Place Your Bets. We'll talk to you after the game on Saturday with post-game takeaways.